Hi, welcome along to All Guns Blazing. The ArsenalFanTV podcast, which features myself, Robbie, and Mr. DT. How you doing, DT?
I'm all right.
The building.
All good.
You know what we're going to talk about today?
I dread to think what the subject is today.
Transfers.
Oh, I'm going. See you later.
January transfer window is about to shut. It's been a very quiet one for Arsenal. It's been a weird one because normally the January transfer window, we're all moaning, we're all groaning, we're all like, get him. But this time round, we've actually got a pretty decent squad and we don't really need much. I mean, do we need anyone?
Yeah, we still need players, but it's getting them in January. It's about the only time I will agree with Arsenal.
Hold on.
Yeah, there is.
Hold on. Say that again.
Move this idiot. Get away from me, Arsenal, man. Look at him with his little bobblehead. Look.
You agree with Arsenal?
No, you know what? It's to try and find better than what we have that's going to improve and the kind of money you've got to spend in January. Nah, I can't really see it. I think this summer will be when it's a big transfer window. No tournaments. So we've got no excuses come the summer. You know, there's no World Cup, no Euro, no nothing like that. Distracting everyone.
The funny thing about this transfer window is that we spent half of the time not talking about players that we need to buy, but the ones we need to keep.
Yeah, that's a priority, isn't it?
The whole Alexis Sanchez deal is still not done. The whole Mesut Ozil deal is still not done.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's still players that have got 18 months left. Jack Wilshere. Yeah. Oxlade-chamberlain. You know, Gibbs.
Yeah.
You know, all right, we signed up Giroud. We've given an extension to Mertesacker and people like that. But it's been about keeping players, which is the strange thing. I mean, on the Ozil and Sanchez thing, how important do you think it is to hold on to them two?
I think it's important to everyone, really, because for years we cried out for world-class players, and then when we get them, the one thing you don't want to do is lose them. So it's kind of like they're both at their peak years within football terms. Losing them now. Alexis Sanchez, for me, though, that's the one. At all costs, you've got to keep that guy.
200 grand a week?
I'd give him 250.
If he said he wants 300?
I don't care, give it to him. Where's there another Alexis Sanchez?
True.
The only other that is comparable in the sense of the way that they play is Luis Suarez. And we already missed that boat with £1. You know, so you're not getting Luis Suarez, are you? You're not getting an Aguero. So you sit there and think top of your head, where's another Alexis Sanchez? There isn't. In terms of Mesut Ozil, I know he's a unique player, but I feel that he is replaceable.
If he wants 250, do you give him that?
I can't see what he's done on a consistent level.
It's a world-class player.
I know he is, but I mean...
The German Player of the Year 4 times out of the last 5 years.
But there are games where you do have to question him. There are games where you know, I can't question Alexis Sanchez after a game. I never sit there and go, why didn't Alexis perform today? Why was he strolling around the pitch? Why was he... Alexis leaves everything on the pitch. Even if he's not scoring goals, even if he's not at his best, he leaves everything he has on that pitch. And you know that he dies for the cause. And I just don't see that in certain terms with Ozil.
Have you been annoyed with Alexis recently? All these little tantrums he keeps throwing. Like, you know, at Bournemouth, just threw his gloves down, stormed off the pitch. The other day, what game was it? Swansea, just stormed off again. Fans singing his name. Over. Fans singing his name. Hold on. Fans singing his name. He walked off the pitch. He didn't even turn around and put a thumbs up and say thanks for the support.
No, I've said before, that's the only one thing that annoys me with Alexis is the...
Why would we let him get away with that?
Is the clapping and stuff, and it's just...
But what's that all about? Why can't he just acknowledge a fan sometimes?
He does do sometimes. I just feel that when he gets in his little zone and he's in a mood, you know what it's like, Robbie, and you know, you're in a mood. If I'm in a mood, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to acknowledge anyone. I'm like, leave me alone. Just don't touch me. Don't talk to me. And it's just, you know, he comes from a different culture and a different background. And
what, being rude?
it's not. No, because being rude is when you intentionally do it. I don't think Alexis Sanchez intentionally means to be rude to the fans. I think at that precise moment and the way that he is, and I feel as well, the whole leaving the pitch after 90 minutes where he just disappears off and doesn't come over to the fans.
That's out of order.
I've said that, but what I'm saying is as well, I think that maybe he needs a bit of guidance from the senior players as well. I think maybe he needs someone like the Laurent Koscielny's and even Arsene Wenger to have a word in his ear and say, listen, you need to, even if you just walk a few yards in your own half and you just applaud to where, you know, if you're at home, all four sides, if you're away, just a corner, the fans will see that and they'll look and they'll go, yeah, Alexis is just, don't ask for much. I'm not telling you to come over and, you know, come home with me. It's like I'm just asking you to just, you know, even if you just sit there like that, thumbs up, that's fine. You know, and I feel that someone of a senior nature should maybe have a word in his ear. Would
you have Dimitri Payet?
Yeah.
As we're talking about player and discipline and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would you have him at Arsenal? A guy's gone on strike, said, you know what, basically down tools, I ain't playing for West Ham no more.
Yeah.
Do you think Arsenal should be going in and trying to get Payet?
Yeah, because if, you know, the kind of figure that they're talking about, if he genuinely wants to just go back to Marseille and it's because his family's homesick, I don't buy that in many respects because he's only just recently signed a new contract. If you weren't happy in your family...
5-year deal as well.
That's what I mean. If you and your family weren't happy, you would know pretty much within the first few months whether you settled or not. Now, when everything was going great at West Ham and you were scoring spectacular goals and you was being brought into the French team and then you was going to the Euros and playing amazing and then everything was great. But then this season, the stadium move's just gone to tits for West Ham and the way that they're playing, they're conceding 4 or 5 goals in numerous games. They're getting battered and he's had a few injuries and it's just all got on top of him, and he's like, it seems like that's a very easy thing to say.
So did you want to play like that? He's as soon as a chip. So that's what we're always complaining about at Arsenal. Yeah. That, you know, we want fighters, we want leaders. Do you want a player like that? Then when we bring him in, then as soon as things start going wrong, he just goes south.
The thing is, we will never have the problems West Ham have. It would never be as bad. Yeah. It would never be as bad as
maybe
that.
Not as bad, but we have problems.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We have some problems.
We've got very vocal fans and things like that.
Listen,
so
I also think that there's
banners and things like that.
I don't know about banners and stuff, but
Dimitri, thanks for the memories.
Yeah, it's time to say goodbye. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is that, you know, there's a massive French contingent at Arsenal that can help him out, and I just think it's a different way of life. I think that Arsenal to West Ham is a huge difference, massive difference. I just, ability-wise, all day long, yeah, there is that concern over the way he spat his dummy out, and it's kind of, you know, he would have been better saying, I don't want to play for West Ham anymore. I want to leave because of X, Y, Z. But whilst I'm here, I'm going to put everything in. I think the fact that he's turned around and said, I'm not playing. He
wouldn't get his move there now, would he?
No. But you never know. But because if he's putting the pressure on the board to say, you know, I've said that I don't want to be here because I'm homesick, he would have probably ended up getting very sympathetic reaction from some of the West Ham fans. They could have sat there and said, you know what, if he's still going out there and playing for the shirt, whether it be for the rest of January or to the remainder of the season, at least we know that he's given everything for the cause and we can appreciate that everything that he has done. You know, he's not going off to a rival. He's at the age now where he, you know, he's 29 and he wants to win something. And if we're real as West Ham fans, we're not going to win anything. You know,
should Arsenal be looking for, or what do we need now? Normally, every year we say we need a striker.
Yeah.
At the moment, you know, Alexis, you know, banging in the goals, right up there as the top scorers in the league. Giroud is on fire this season. Welbeck's just come back, so that's there. You've got options with Theo Walcott, Lucas Perez. Would you say we still need a striker, or is that it?
I think that
you're right there now.
I think our weak spot at the moment is the left-hand side. In terms of striker, yeah, I still would like that real prolific name. That real, I said all along.
Alexis prolific.
But and this is the problem is that when Alexis comes in on the left, you don't need no one in on the left. But when Alexis goes up front, you feel like you need someone on the left, and he can't do two jobs. And this is my fault. I think the left-hand side's our weak spot. I think that he's gone and bought this young left back for the future, which kind of says that he's identified the left back position as something that he wants to address. Nacho's not going to be there for much longer. I think this might be one of his last seasons. His form has dipped dramatically this season. Kieran Gibbs has never been consistent in terms of injury. So that is an avenue that we need to look. And also the left-hand side of midfield.
A lot of people have suggested this guy, Ricardo Rodriguez.
Yeah, the Swiss guy that plays with Xhaka.
Yeah.
His name was mentioned before the summer.
Yep, plays for Wolfsburg.
It looks very good. He's gettable. That's the thing. He's gettable. He's very
better than what we got, though.
Yeah, I think he is. He's quicker. He's more attack-minded. And defensively, he's very good. When his name was mentioned a lot before the Euros, I took a close eye on him. Watched him during the Euros, and I think he is actually best mates with Xhaka. And with all due respect to Wolfsburg, they're a club that you can approach and take the players off them.
Middle of the park where Santi is. Obviously, he's out. You suggested Payet possibly could play there, but do you think we need to get a replacement there?
The thing is, where are you going to find a Santi Cazorla?
There's been suggestions, people like Isco.
And I think you're getting them in January.
Rakitic has been a bit unsettled at Barca, even though he's a bit different sort of midfielder.
And when you think of what we paid for him, it makes you laugh, doesn't it? But I look at the Santi situation.
So Geezer at Bournemouth ain't bad,
yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. This is the problem, is why do we buy someone now when in May we get back someone that can play?
Because we want to win the league.
I know.
As you said to me in other podcasts, you said,
But the problem is then what do you do? If you go and buy someone now, what do you do with Jack Wilshere? What are their plans for Jack Wilshere? He's got 18 months left on his contract. There's talk that they are going to offer him a massive one. But then there's other things that I look into the situation as well. Ozil's made it very clear that he wants the number 10. He said that before the season he stated he wanted the 10. Nobody's currently using it and he still never got it. That was kind of like a dig in his interview. That is one thing that I will say about his interview. That was something that he'd mentioned as if to say he was quite annoyed about that. So how will Jack Wilshere feel coming next season if Ozil's still here and they've given his number away? Because I know Jack was quite proud of having the number 10. So is it a case of they just swap them around and say, well, Jack, you take 11? The last time I remember it being done was Paul Merson. Remember when Bergkamp came in, he gave up his number 10 for Dennis. I said, yeah, no problem with that, mate. But
do you think this squad at the moment, right, is going to be good enough to win the Premier League?
It's capable of winning the Premier League.
Is it good enough to win the Premier League? If you look at that squad,
that's the $60 million
do you say to yourself that this squad should be good enough to win the Premier League?
Oh yeah, it should be good enough. It should be, especially when you look at Leicester winning the league and it's a squad 10 times better than theirs.
Yeah, but a lot of other teams have improved since then.
I know other teams have improved. This squad is good enough to win the league. It's the best squad we've had since 2004.
Right.
All day.
So do you think we need to buy anyone then at the moment in January? Do you think
again,
that,
Again, the problem is what you're going to do to improve on what we have in January.
So you're satisfied that
I'm satisfied.
This till the end of the season's fine.
I haven't got an issue with us having what we've got because unless something major comes up and lands on the table, I can't really see it. My argument with Payet is that people will say we've got Ox, we've got Theo, people like that. When have they ever been consistent? When have they consistently played week in, week out, performed week in, week out, and propelled us to great things, like your Freddie Ljungbergs and your Robert Perez's, people that played in those positions. And my issue with that is that there is better out there than them, because they've had long enough to produce. And how long do you give them? Theo Walcott's in his 10th year.
He's doing pretty well this season, though.
But he's out injured again.
He's out injured. He can't help that, but he's doing...
No, but it's every year. But it's what I mean, Robbie. It's every year. How long do you persist with someone who can't even play a season? It's all well and good that Theo started off great. Yeah, we haven't seen him for 4 weeks. We don't even know when he's going to be back.
But he'll be back soon. But I mean...
He was meant to be
back. But
he's
having a good season, isn't he?
Yeah, he's having a good season. But again, it's consistency. You know, he started off the season on fire. Then he went off the boil. Now he's got injured. How will he come back? And every year it's the same. It's not a one-off. This was the concerns that we all had over Jack Wilshere. Amazing player. Technically brilliant. Superb. Would love for him to be a future captain of Arsenal. Proper Arsenal boy at heart. But when does he play? Well, yeah, he's playing every game now. He's not at Arsenal, but, you know, beforehand. And the same with Ox.
This guy said to me the other day, bring back Jack, but make him train with Bournemouth.
It's a good shout.
When he comes back.
It's a good shout.
He doesn't train with us, he trains with Bournemouth and then comes back just to play for us.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Oh,
you know?
my God.
It's the same thing with Ox, consistency.
You know what, in the summer, I was doing a transfer daily the other day, and I was sort of saying this, that it irritates me, the fact that you'll see players like Griezmann at the moment, was the one I was talking about on that particular programme, that he's linked with Manchester United. They ever keep saying, yeah, United are going to get him in the summer.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why do we not get linked with these guys? I mean, you know, there was like a rich list out that came out, and we were 7th in that rich list, above Chelsea, above Liverpool, above Juventus, above lots of teams that have really invested in a lot of expensive players. And I'm like, you know, and even not far below teams like your PSGs and teams like that as well. So I'm like, why can't we be in there? Why are we having these problems with paying wages to Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil? Why are we...
structure. That is what it's based on. We have a structure. Whereas Man United will literally throw wages around with no structure.
Are we doing it right, or are they doing it? Are they doing it wrong?
I would say that we're doing it right in the sense that, you know what? I think we're doing it right and we're doing it wrong. If it makes sense, I think that
don't.
No, because what I mean is, right, there's certain players that should get the big money, right, and then there's certain players where I think, how the hell are you even earning a wage at Arsenal, right? I look right now and I sit there and go, how much has Yaya Sanogo collected in wages at Arsenal since he's been there? And what's he contributing?
Yeah, but he's not a major earner.
Listen, that guy is still on around about the £30,000-40,000 a week mark.
He's been injured, hasn't he? So,
but this is the thing. That guy's earned millions from doing nothing.
That's contracts. Right? That's contracts.
Listen, I mean, but this is the thing. This is why there's certain people within the club. We need to be more ruthless and go.
But you can't.
Thanks for the memories.
But if a player's injured, he's not going to leave, innit? Even if you say to him, right, you know what, we want to get...
The guy shouldn't have been at the club anyway. Anyone watching him can see. The guy celebrates in a pre-season tournament and can't even do it without falling over. When you go watch the video of him against Benfica, when he went to run into the crowd and he tripped over the wiring. It's like, you are just so clumsy. The guy will never make it at Arsenal.
Do you know, I read something about Sanogo, and they said that when, as youngsters, like coming up, like the teenagers coming up, and they looked at that the French kids coming up, the one that they thought out of all of them was going to succeed the most was not Pogba, it was Sanogo.
Yeah.
But he's had a series of injuries. Even when we bought him, he had a season plagued with injuries. Maybe that's just set him right back.
I honestly don't know what
he's maybe not quite as bad as, you know, I don't know. I feel a bit sorry for the guy.
The guy has the touch of a rapist. It is beyond shocking. It is.
He has looked very poor. But
did you watch the clips of him when he was in Ajax? You know, even one of the Boer brothers, one of the greatest footballers out there, Dutch player, elegance, you know, knows exactly what he's talking about. And he was just looking at him like, what have Arsenal sent us? This is just like Bambi on ice. What is this?
Yeah, I think injuries might have done for him and just set him because he was a promising guy. But if somebody's under contract and they're injured, they're not going to go nowhere. You wouldn't, you're still going to get your wages. That's just how contracts go.
Let's go to another thing then, right? Let's look at Per Mertesacker. Just signed a new contract. I'm baffled. I'm baffled.
Well, it's a guy that, what they say, brings a lot of leadership to the team. And that's things that we moan about a lot of time. You see, that's it now. You're going to sit there and you're going to say, great, well done. And you would be the first person after a game in an interview to say, see, we let Robbie leadership.
Listen,
there's no leadership in the team. But
Robbie, Mertesacker is not going to play. Okay? Let's say for argument's sake, listen, he ain't going to play. I would have Rob Holding ahead of Mertesacker. Right? And he's an inexperienced kid. But what I've seen of him all day long, and I think if you put a poll out there to say who would they rather start in the team, I think Rob Holding would win that. Yeah, we've also got Gabriel there.
Probably we will do that poll. Let's do that poll by it. If you're on YouTube, if you're listening to this on YouTube or watching this on YouTube, we'll do the poll because you do that drop-down poll. Who would you rather in the starting lineup, Rob Holding or Per Mertesacker?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've also got Callum Chambers coming back next year.
True.
Who's doing very well at Middlesbrough.
Doing well at Middlesbrough.
So, with a consistent run of games, he's starting to show what promise he's got. And I know, that he's got the experience, and I know that he could be great in the dressing room. Well, sign him as a coach then. Sign him as a player coach. Why are you giving the man a playing contract? The guy's still going to take 50, 60 grand a week out of the club. And let's be real, he's not going to play Robbie. Let's say, for argument's sake, Koscielny and Mustafi are fit throughout the Premier League campaign. Them two are your first choice.
Let's say both of those get injured.
Then you've got Gabriel and Holding.
No experience there straight away.
Well, Gabriel's a Brazilian international, and Rob Holding, as I said.
Well, Gabriel's played one or two games for Brazil.
Listen,
he's still
an international now.
As we've seen with Gabriel, he can be a guy that can be a bit rash, right? So then maybe that's where your Mertesacker. Maybe that's where your Mertesacker can then kick in.
You're predicting.
Yeah, but you've got to do that, haven't you?
Nah.
You've got to do that. How many times down the years have we then had a couple of players injured and there's no backup?
No. What you need to do is give Mertesacker a coaching role. Because it seems...
Maybe that could be the long-term thing.
It seems very Arteta-like. Why did we give Arteta that last year's contract? So that he could run onto the pitch on the final game and cry his eyes out about how much he loves everyone, and then he jumps in his car and drives up the motorway to Manchester. We just paid your wages for a year while you've been crippled, and you've now just gone on pissed off and disappeared with Pep and Man City. So, and that's the thing. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with Mertesacker as a person. I think he's a brilliant guy, and I think he's done a very good job for us when we needed him at a certain time. And I absolutely loved him when he first came along, and he had a tough start. And then he adapted to the league. He's never had pace. So it's not like someone who's had pace and lost it. We always know that he's slow as shit. But, I just don't see what he's going to contribute to the playing side of things to warrant a new contract. And that's why, if they would have come out and said it's a player-coach role, for instance, if there's injuries, if there's problems, he's going to come along, he'll play and everything else. Fans would have sort of went, yeah, do you know what? And it has divided opinion again. And my argument is that, people that say they've signed him for a voice in the dressing room and a coach, well, you've got a guy on over £8 million a year that's meant to be doing that. Yeah, that's meant to be the voice. That's meant to be the coach. That's what Steve Bowles there for as well.
Do you trust Arsene Wenger to make... Maybe it's a stupid question here, but do you trust him to make the right transfers for the? The signings in the summer weren't bad.
No,
he kind of got eventually over the years. We've been crying out for him to get what we need. He kind of got what we need, and his call on the strikers, where he said, "You know what? I don't see." Well, obviously he went for Vardy, that fell through, and then his call on the strikers doesn't seem to have been too bad. He said Alexis could play through in the middle when we all doubted that, and he's been proven right on that one. He's been proven right in keeping hold of Giroud because he's done well this season. Xhaka, he's been proven right on Coquelin.
We've already said about Giroud that we've always wanted him as a plan B. And that's still my point. I've never had a problem with Olivier Giroud. My problem with Olivier Giroud is him being our plan A. Now that's the problem, because when Olivier Giroud's gone off the boil, like last year, and he doesn't score for 12, 13 games or whatever it was, who was there to take over? Nobody. But this year it seems to be balancing between them. You know, Alexis is on fire, and then he has a little spell where he doesn't score, so Giroud comes in, and now he's on fire, and now it's pushing Alexis to want to score more, and so yeah, the balance is kind of right. But I still feel Alexis is our main guy up front. I feel
come the summer, would you like to see Arsenal go out there and get like a Griezmann or something? I mean, do you think there's any excuse for us not being able to go in for like the big money signings now?
No. I just feel that Arsenal are very... I think we're scared of buying a flop. I root for that kind of money. Let's be real, that's a lot of money. You look at the abuse Pogba gets.
Yeah, but
million,
but Pogba's not a flop though. Pogba is a guy.
No, but what I'm saying is
he's just started off. He had a slow start, but you're starting to see the quality of him now. And he probably will never live up to that price tag. But that's the sort of money you're going to have to pay to get those type of players. I'd love to see Pogba at Arsenal. I've got to be honest.
Well, at the end of the day, let's be honest. He did do a great dab in the box the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he done a great. But I don't get me. If he was at Arsenal, we'd all be.
Yeah, of course we would.
No matter what we say, right? We can take the mick, but he's a quality player.
At the end of the day, what I'm saying is that there's a lot to weigh up into that price tag. One of the things you said is living up to that price tag. Has the player got the right mentality to live up to that price tag? I also believe that Arsenal's very much like, if he has a chance of signing someone, and then they go elsewhere, and then he gets a chance of signing them again about 3, 4, 5 years later for treble what he could have done, he doesn't like doing that. Doesn't like it, because he could have had Griezmann before he went to Atletico, and he refused it.
Griezmann becomes available in the summer. Man United going with an £80 million bid. You're Wenger. Would you go in for 80? Would you say now 85?
Yeah, I'll go in there.
90.
The only thing is, we can match Man United in terms of the price tag, but we won't go stupid like Man United do with the wage. Rooney's on over 300 grand. Now, this may well be Wayne Rooney's last season at the club, so they're going to free up 300 odd grand a week. So they could throw that 350 odd grand at Griezmann. Yet, we ain't going to sign a player, right, for argument's sake. Let's say Alexis does sign for 200 grand, yeah? Griezmann comes in. Arsenal ain't going to go, yeah, we'll give you 350. Because Alexis will be knocking straight at that door going, hold on a minute. I want that now. Then Ozil will come knocking on the door and go, I want that now. So I will back up Arsenal in that sense, that, there is a limitation. I've got no problem with Arsenal paying 200 plus for someone that's proven themselves, like Alexis Sanchez. But as for a new signing that's not proven,
if you want them best players, that's what you're going to have to do, isn't it?
I know, and this is the thing. But then I also feel as well that you can get.
You want Wenger to compete, don't you? That's what you keep saying.
Yeah, I do want him to compete.
Right, so the only way he's going to be able to compete is if he is able to do that. But to be able to pay the 350 grand. You've got China out there now paying stupid money.
I do also believe that we can get players for cheaper than that for just as good.
Who?
Come the summer, that's something that we'll have to look at.
Come the summer, give me 2 players. Or give me 1 player. I'm putting you on the spot a bit. Give me a player that you'd like to see Arsenal buy. Come the summer.
Do you know what?
Realistic.
I did like the look of Draxler because of the whole left-hand side thing.
He's gone. Yeah.
And then I look out there and I just can't think off the top of my head who would. I know there's better out there than Oxlade-Chamberlain and Theo. I still got a thing about Mahrez. I really do rate Mahrez.
Not having a great season this year.
I know no one at Leicester's having a great season. No one is. You know, it's never going to be easy after what
But he in particular is not. He's been very poor.
But we can see what he's done. So you just sit there and think, well, imagine him coming into our midfield. You know, you're moving from what Leicester have, with all due respect, because they won the league. We've got to give them respect. But the quality of players that we have, with your Ozils, and with your Alexis Sanchez's and whatnot.
So someone like Amaris. And Amaris will be gettable in the summer because they're not going to have no Champions. Well, unless they win the Champions League.
Oh, don't start that one.
They're not going to have. They're not going to have any Champions League football. And having had a taste of it, he'll want more.
And that's what I mean. You've got to look at realistic targets. And I look at it and I think, you know, Mahrez is a realistic target. He is price range. What are you talking? 40, about 40 million, something like that. Yeah, would Leicester take 40 million? I think they would. You know?
What about Vardy? Who did we dodge a bullet there? Because you know what, we were going to sign him.
That ship sailed, man. He lost his chance, all because he listened to his wife. Unlucky. There you go. That's why you should never listen to women. My missus is watching this. I didn't mean that.
You're going to be homeless, mate.
I didn't mean that. But, you know, yeah, I think that ship sailed, man. It's just... I find myself kind of agreeing with Arsene in certain respects with so many things here. And this is the thing. What people have got to understand. I haven't got an agenda. I've just got...
Yeah, but then you're seeing some of the problems that he has in signing the very best players, but yet still you want him to make sure you want him to win the league.
My issue,
when you're effectively saying is basically Arsene can't get the very best players because we're not going to be able to pay the wages for him.
My main issue,
but you still want him to win it.
My main issue is the way that Arsene pisses about in the window. Go get the job done. We all know that we could have had Mustafi at least a month before we bought him. Right? Even your agent guy that you've interviewed, everyone knows. Arsenal wouldn't have gone in there faffing around. We'd have had him for the opening game of the season against Liverpool. And then we wouldn't have had to throw Rob Holding into the deep end. Yeah, when we was already missing Koscielny as well. And we wouldn't have had to throw, and we didn't have no, Chambers was there, and then we had no, Ozil wasn't playing, and all of these kind of... So that was my issue in the summer. You were haggling over £2-3 million. And in the end, you went and paid what you was haggling over for in the beginning. Just pay the money, because you've got it. And this is what frustrates fans. Because what we look at, we sit there and watch the rest of the transfer window unfold. Chelsea, Man United, all these people go, right, this is the player we want. A week later, there's a picture of them on their website holding the shirt up. We sit there and go, this is the player we want. 4 years later, we're still waiting for it. And this is the problem. And it's just, that Mustafi thing really identified the problem that we have. That, I know that Arsenal use a lot of statistics in their signings, all their graphs and whatnot. And sometimes you just need to be a bit old-fashioned about things. And if that's the player you want, and you genuinely think he's going to make good for the team, go out there and get the job done. Because we could have lost Mustafi. Let's be real about it. We could have lost him. If another big club was going in for him at that time, and I still don't understand why no one was, right, we'd have lost him. So we got lucky that we was only one of the real big ones that was going and putting a serious interest in there. If you can remember, near towards the end when we were faffing around, Liverpool was being mentioned. And yeah, that's my concern over Arsene. Identify your player, yeah? And this is the other part that annoys me. He's too involved in the transfer, right? Arsene should sit there and go, right, I need this player and this player because they're going to do this within my team, right? I know what they're going to do. You now go off and go and get me my player. No, Arsene's involved in every single step. It's fine if Arsene wants to ring the player up, because I know he's done that many a time, because he speaks 5-6 different languages.
Rung up Alexis.
Yeah, and that's great. That's fine. You can be involved in that kind of stuff. It's all good for the new player to kind of listen to the manager and that side of things. And I commend Arsene for that side of things, because it's something that not a lot of managers can do. You can imagine... You look at why Alexis chose Arsenal, because he's got Arsene Wenger phoning up, speaking to him in Spanish, or you've got Brendan Rodgers phoning him up. You just about speak English. Do you know what I mean? So it's pretty obvious why Alexis chose Arsenal, isn't it? Because but they built that relationship already, even just by a telephone conversation or a face-to-face meeting. You wasn't having to sit with the player and tell this guy next to you, tell him that I want to do, and then he was going, there was none of that. They could have a face-to-face dialogue, and that breaks ice straight away. So from that side of things, that's really good. I just feel that he is too involved. He's too involved in the side of the money side of things, where a club will say, you've only offered 40, we want 45. Arsenal will be too involved and be like, no. That's it. Where it should be down to Ivan Gazidis and all of them to say, Arsene, shut up. Go on holiday. Go and do your slides on the beach in Brazil or whatever it is and just go and have a break. Get a tan. Yeah, do whatever and leave this to us. If this player that you've identified costs us 40 million or 45 million, it's not your business. Doesn't matter. All you need to know is that come the start of pre-season, the player you want is going to be there in training. And that's the way it should work. The Arsenal shouldn't be dealing with all that side of things. Shouldn't be dealing with the financial side of things. And this is why so many of us are getting frustrated, because we feel that he's got his finger in too many pies at Arsenal. Is he taking too many things on? This was the good thing about David Dein. Arsenal would go to David and go, this is what I want. David would go and deal with it. Arsenal could concentrate on the team. And it's no coincidence that the team was successful then, because he was putting all his undivided attention into the team. He weren't dealing with all that other shit. Now he's dealing with everything. Everything. And he shouldn't be doing that. And that is the concern that we've got as fans right now.
Okay, well, listen, you broke it down brilliantly. That's the end of the podcast today on transfers. What do you guys think? Do you think that we should go in and make a cheeky bid for Dimitri Payet? Do you think that, for once, we've actually got exactly what we need to go on and win the title? And do you think that, Arsenal are capable of buying a player, or should be capable of buying players of the stature of Griezmann? Let us know, whether you be leaving comments, whether you be, because remember, we're on all platforms with this podcast. We're on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes, sorry. I was going to say iPhone. We're on iTunes, and of course, we're on YouTube.
You can listen on your iPhone.
You can listen on your iPhone, right? You can listen on anything, as long as it works. Even on Ty's phone, you can listen.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about
that. That's a pretty ancient piece of kit.
Wow.
You've seen his Nokia.
That's a trap phone, that is.
Trap phone.
That thing there, man, that's one of them £10 Tesco mobile things that you need to get rid of real quick.
Lycra.
When the old bill are on top of y'all. That's... Woo!
Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with another podcast.